All right, my guest tonight from San Francisco, editor-in-chief for Engadget.com, Ryan Block, joins us, and from New York, senior editor for CNET.com, Dan Ackerman. Welcome to The Loop, everybody. January 30th marked the one-year anniversary of Microsoft's Vista OS. I remember last year we were covering it in this very loop. People were going crazy. They were going nuts for this release, and then the hype train quickly derailed. And I'm wondering, Ryan, did the train really fall off the tracks, or is that just public perception that Vista is not all it was supposed to be?
Well, actually, I remember being on the Attack of the Show around the time of Vista launch, and one of the things that we talked about was reasons for upgrading. And at the time, I said that, the main reason for upgrading was for gamers. You get DirectX 10, you get Xbox Live for Windows. And as it turns out, neither of those things really panned out. I mean, there's 2 or 3 Xbox Live for Windows games.
Right. Oh, we had a little problem with Ryan's satellite there. We're going to go to Dan. I agree with Dan. Did you hear what Ryan said about DirectX 10?
I completely agree with what Ryan said. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter how many people go to the store, get a boxed copy of Vista, take it home, put it on their PCs. What Vista is going to do is kind of win virally. And what happens is your old busted up computer wears out. You go to get a new one, and you go to Dell, you go to HP, and they offer Vista. So that's what you get. And that is how Vista will eventually kind of take over everybody's computers.
Yeah, Ryan, a lot of people are saying Vista's been hanging on because, XP is still, Vista hasn't been catching on because XP is still out there. People are reluctant to upgrade. They're just running it. Do you think that the final switch is going to be when Microsoft stops licensing XP? I mean, is that when the changeover will occur?
Well, Microsoft isn't selling a lot of XP licenses as is. It's really just kind of a backup plan. It's almost a war of attrition that XP users are fighting right now, and they're going to lose eventually. It's going to come down to people having to pirate XP if they want to continue using it on new machines. So, the question eventually becomes, do you just kind of succumb to, buying a new machine with Vista on it and dealing with it, or are you going to, make the switch and go to Linux
right.
or, OS 10?
Well, Dan, a lot of people seem to be hanging out. They were saying, well, maybe I'll jump in when Service Pack 1 is finally ready. Vista's not going to be solid at launch. So for those users, what are your thoughts on Service Pack 1? Is that going to solve all the problems?
Well, this big service pack, it's just a collection of bug fixes. It's all the previous updates plus some new stuff. It's not going to change anybody's lives. And for me and you, the end users, it's going to be pretty transparent. Hopefully they'll clean up some of the problems with drivers for some video cards and printers. And my big hope is they'll clean up a big problem I have is I can never get computers to go to sleep or hibernate and then wake up properly. Right. That's my big complaint. Hopefully they'll fix that.
That's such a huge problem. And the other thing with SP1 is there's no list of new features. It's all just exactly what you said, like bug fixes. One of the things that Microsoft was really pushing early on was that Vista Ultimate would have all these great new Ultimate specific features that you wouldn't be able to get in any other version. We've never seen that. We've never seen really any new features since the introduction of the OS.
Well, so maybe Dan,
you have
can tell me
poker game in Ultimate, and they have those new backgrounds.
Oh, that's exciting!
Oh,
I love a wallpaper pack.
I totally forgot about that.
But no, Dan, what went wrong though? What happened with Vista? The WoW was supposed to start now. Did they just not give us enough reason to upgrade?
That's called marketing. It's just an operating system, just like XP was, slightly upgraded graphics, and a couple new features. One thing Vista does really well, actually, I'll give them a little bit of credit, is if you have a wireless networking problem like Wi-Fi, Vista's actually really good at kind of fixing that on its own. Where with XP, if you had some kind of problem, you basically just get a message that said, Wi-Fi's not working, tough break, dude.
Right, yeah, good luck. Reboot a couple times, and maybe you'll be solid. Now, Dan, it's tough not to touch on the big news this past week about Microsoft making a bid for Yahoo. Do you think that acquisition could impact Vista in any way?
I think the Yahoo deal does not directly impact the operating system business, but it does give Microsoft, if this goes through, more footage in the web searching and the portal space, and Google, where are they making a lot of strides? In their apps like Gmail and Google Docs, and what does that impact? Microsoft Office, so it's all connected, man.
Right. Now, Ryan, your thoughts on this whole, the Vista being just another upgrade, just another operating system. People said that about Leopard, and yet it seemed to fly off the shelves. So, in your opinion, if you had to pick one right now, if you had to recommend a computer to someone, would you say, hey, go with Leopard or go with Vista?
Oh, it's so hard to answer that question because it's a really personal thing, what operating system you use, what kind of computer you use. I use both. I have a Vista machine and an OS 10 machine, but I have to say, if I didn't feel like I had to run Vista because, I have to know what's going on with it, I would probably actually go back to XP.
Really?
Yeah,
Dan, would you agree with that as well?
That's not uncommon, too. I mean, I have a lot of friends. I have one friend who writes for an unnamed, shall we say, computer gaming magazine, and he wants to drop it. He's over it.
All right. Well, I want to thank Ryan and Dan for joining us. Thank you guys very much for keeping us in the loop.
Attack of the Show, weeknights at 7, only on G4.